Louise was a good friend of our family's back in the 40s and 50s, so it would be nice to actually see where her remains were finally found.
So you knew her when you were a boy?
Yeah, I knew her, and she knew our family, and at Pinion. She lived with Wilson Howell over at Ribbonwood, which is now the Springcrest area.
And you knew her as quite an outdoors woman, right?
She was a very outdoors person. She would disappear for 2 weeks at a time with her little backpack or canteen, some swieback, some dried fruit, and nobody would know where she was, and then she would come back. But on this last trip, she went out and didn't come back. And we are now at the trading post on the reservation, Agua Caliente Reservation, and getting ready to start our trek to see if we can find this area up in the Palm Canyon.
And where we're going about 2 miles up the canyon here?
It should be anywhere between 2.5, 3 miles up the canyon. Then we're going to go up to what's called Dry Camp, which is a fork coming into Palm Canyon. See if that's the place where it was. This is an area where the bedrock comes to the surface, and so the water that disappears under the alluvium up there hits here and it can't flow under, so it has to come to the surface, flow down the bedrock, and you get these springs, and there are several of these springs along Palm Canyon that we used when I was a kid to get drinking water. Also growing in here, you have the tules, and the tules were a major food item. You can eat the bulbs off the bottom like potatoes, you can eat the new sprouts that come out like asparagus, and then when they get full size, the pollen on top used to be called miner's flour. It's a high protein pollen. It can be mixed with flour to make biscuits or whatever you want. Also present a little bit farther up are the willows, and the willows are natural aspirin. That's salicylic acid. That's where it was extracted originally from, and now it's made synthetically. But the area just below the bark, the cambium layer of the willow, is the same as aspirin. If you have a headache, you can chew on a willow branch. Louise knew all of these. I mean, she spent her time all through this hill, so she knew all these water places just like we did. She knew the food items, she knew any of the remedy items, anything in there. The palm trees themselves were a great source of food. The dates on those are very tasty and very nutritious. And you can also use the seeds to load shotgun shells. They're so hard. Okay, the trail we're following is the Palm Canyon Trail. This is an old Indian trail that used to run from the Mojave Desert down to Baja California. So it's been here for a long time. This is an area where Louise could have gotten resources for food. In here you can see this area here with the cattails. You can even see some of the cattails on the ends there. High pollen, very good food. We'd mentioned them before. The palm itself was a choice area of food. Over here are mesquite. The mesquite beans were very nutritious. And here we have an area of arrowweed. This was the choice area, type of material for the arrow shafts that the Cahuilla used, because it grows in a straight line very nicely, and when you break off a limb, the limb breaks off into the bush and doesn't leave a stub out there, so when it grows across your hand, it'll cut you.
I just kind of remember from the past that I think this jogs through this little grotto and comes back out, but we can try either way.
Look at all those barrel cactus up there. That's a great food resource area. All the little buds on those barrel cactus would have been consumed for food, and I'm sure that Louise knew all about those.
And this was about the time of year she would have been up here, right?
Yeah. And the mesquites, I mean, everything is in here. There's quite a natural food resource.
Would the food have been available in the winter, December?
No, except for the agave. The agave is the only one that you can actually harvest on a year-round basis. And I don't know, we might find the agave up where she was.
So at the place that we're going, do you think she was trying to hide?
She was hiding out from everybody and trying to get away from the world at the time. Her world had cratered and she was looking for something else.
So the place, this is a major trail, but where she was would it have been hidden away?
Yeah, way off of this trail and in a canyon that really wasn't frequented by very many people.
We don't even, it's so off the trail we don't know if we can find it.
Yep, we're just going to go look.
The last couple that we had lost out in that area was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, about a week. And what happened was they came off this trail. No, they went East Fork, because we tracked them from East Fork to Dry Wash and to Palm Canyon Creek. couldn't cross into that area, so what we had to do, we had to come south on Palm Canyon, cut across, and go into the Palm Canyon area, Palm Canyon Creek, and that's where we found them at. So that was,
Then they were okay.
yeah, they're fine,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they just, you know, that trail ends, dry wash ends at Palm Canyon, while they continued.
Are we going to find a trail up there when we get to Dry Camp Canyon, or just bushwhacking?
No.
It's bushwhacking.
It's rough.
And that's that was kind of amazing to us, is that they bushwhack into that area, and we're like, it's heavy brush, and it's of that acacia. The acacia, that cat claw will get
That'll
you.
rip you. That's cat's claw.
Cat's claw.
Yeah.
Cat's claw. He knows all about it.
Yeah. We'll learn.
Yeah, you'll learn.
I've left more than one shirt in there.
Yeah, so am I.
That and the mesquite.
But Louise Teagarden is not a familiar name to you?
Do you
or
know
much?
what? I've heard of it, the name,
Yeah.
and I've heard the story. So
But it's not well known.
no, not to me.
Yeah.
I've been here for 3 years now.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, backside of Santa Rosa, we're probably looking at another 3 hours
Just to get there?
to get there and actually be able to look around.
What about ultimately finding it?
Ultimately, we'll find it.
Oh, you meant for coming in for tomorrow. We just have.
That's the old Dunn Road that we used to come down back in the 50s with our Jeep. In fact, there's the hill that we used to come down right there, across, and then there was the old spring with the palms over there. And then that trail that goes up through there actually goes clear up and comes back over by Horse Potrero Spring.
So we're starting to get into the area where Louise was, this really rugged, rocky
She's
country.
up in that area.
Right
That's the
there.
canyon we're looking for right there.
It's a matter of getting in there.
Well, number one is the map that she left. She had drawn this area up so she knew it fairly well. And two, the stuff that she had in that rock shelter, she knew that rock shelter was there. She just didn't get there by accident. So she had either planned to use it or had knew about it ahead of time. And she did know all this whole area because she used to stay at a lot of Jim Wellman's old cattle camps over here. And he had camps all through that hill. Even today you can crawl under the rocks and find an old bed springs and stuff where Jim used to hide out or stay out overnight when he were rounding up cattle out here. They used to have a horse roundup out here back in the 30s and 40s and take the young ones and sell them and then turn the herd back loose in here. And this was the Palm Canyon herd.
So when we were looking over here into Dry Canyon,
Dry Fork. Dry Creek.
and you're seeing some possibly rock shelters, and
It's full of rock shelters. That was why they were over there looking for oyas in the rock shelters.
you think those rock shelters would have been used by Indians?
They were definitely used by Indians. That hill has produced a lot of oyas where they used to cache their food in the oyas. That was what people were looking for in the early days in here.
Well, given the terrain that we're seeing, what do you think now our chances would be of finding it? It's awfully rocky.
It's not going to be real good until we get a little better location on where the thing is. We'll try to get with Vicki and find out if I can get more information.
Just basically rocks everywhere.
Yeah.
And really rough.
And it's going to be extremely rough. Like the ranger said, not only is the cat's claw going to be bad, but so are the rocks.
Yeah.